Hey, Ed here from 10,000 Foot View, and I've got another Google Ads quick tip for you today. Just before I jump in, a reminder to please like our content and subscribe to the channel. We post about Google Ads at least once every week. Okay, so today I'm going to be continuing my series on Google Ads for specific industries, and today I'll be talking about software as a service. And just to clarify, this particular video will be about web-based software or web apps offered on a pay-as-you-go pricing model. And this will not include mobile apps specifically, which would be run through app campaigns. And I'll touch on this in a separate article or in a different video at some point in the future. Okay, so the first thing is the scope of this, and really be talking about a few different business models. And there's kind of three. The first one is freemium, and freemium is when you offer a completely free version of your service that's completely usable. Sometimes they'll say it's a minimally viable product. And then you offer an upgrade to that to get additional features. Um, and with that model, the trick is to make that free version useful enough to ensure that a lot of people actually sign up, right? There's wide adoption, and at the same time, making sure that the upgrades are attractive enough that you do get people paying for a premium version of the app. Then there's a free trial version business model. And under this model, you basically offer a free trial for a minimum or, sorry, a maximum period of time, right? So it's 2 weeks, 30 days, or what have you. You can also do it so that it's not time limited, or you have like a limit on the application utility, right? So you can if you're processing like a batch of different processes, you could like limit it to 10 or 50 or something. So it's not really a fully usable service, but it does have some utility. Um, and so the idea here is that, you really want to make um, the application impossible to say no to, right? So people downloading it really find it useful and they sign up for a paid subscription. Um, One of the problems with this model is you may get, in fact, a large volume of free trials and then a very low conversion rate for subscribers. And I'll touch on how to address that in a little bit. And then the last model I'm going to be talking about is the free demo. And so this is not an actual usable app, but it's just either a self-guided or could be a presented demo of the product so they can just kind of see how it works. Could be with like a sample set of data kind of thing. And this is usually presented by a salesperson, so they can kind of pitch you on on buying the app later. Usually, free demos are for complex products or at a higher price point. So this would be more for like B2B enterprise software solutions where, it's not going to be just a simple utility that you're offering. So one thing to be aware of in terms of Google Ads eccentricities for this industry is that long lead times can be an issue for conversion tracking. So if you typically take like 180 days to convert from a demo or even a free trial to a subscription, then you may not be able to track those conversions um, as sales that happen later on, right? Because Google has a 90-day limit. So in this case, you're going to need to kind of model your outcomes and use projected conversion values based on whatever info you have, right? Historical conversion rates, closing rates, average revenue, lifetime value, all those things. In terms of search campaigns, this is going to be your bread and butter for the most part. Um, and there tend to be no orders for this type of product. Um, but But, if you're starting out and you're kind of, well, we can sell worldwide, I would start with the US only because it's the largest commercial and consumer market. And if you can't sell in the US, you're probably not going to be able to sell somewhere else. So it's the best place to start out. Campaigns should be divided by high level keyword type. So for the most part, these are going to be like topical keywords, but I would also do like product specific, company branded, and I would also consider running competitor brands. Noting that competitor brands usually the cost per conversion tends to be a lot higher. So that's a bit of an advanced strategy when things are already dialed in. Start with phrase and exact match keywords, and ensure you're using qualifiers to avoid running into like adjacent markets or the wrong audience. And for example, if you're selling B2B, you want to avoid consumers from seeing your ads, clicking through, and then not converting. And I've written an article about how to do this, and I'll link in the video notes. Regarding negative keywords, you should exclude your competitors if you plan not to target them. And then in terms of RSAs, fill out all the ad slots that you can, and all assets. I mean, this is just a common thing for all campaigns. And then if you offer similar functionality to your competitors but a lower price, make sure that you state your price in your creative, and also in assets and on the landing page. You can even do comparison pricing on your landing page, although that's also a bit of a risky strategy. Um, and then the other thing is try to develop a language that's specific to your product. So your features and benefits may be similar to your competitors, but if you say it in a unique way, then your ad will stand out versus the competitors. And then just a word on budgets, that a minimum healthy budget for software as a service is really hard to know in advance. So it really is going to depend on the cost per click and the conversion rate. But really, you should aim for a budget that will drive at least 25 conversions a month. And then if you have, low CPCs and a great offer, you may be able to hit that with $1,000 a month. But if you have higher CPCs and sell B2B, then, it might be 5,000 might be a good place to start. Other campaigns you should consider running would be remarketing as kind of an obvious one. We usually run that in demand gen at this point. You can run it in display or video, but demand gen, it's Google's own inventory. The quality tends to be better. You avoid things like click fraud, so that's just what we do at my agency. And then there's Performance Max, and I would say kind of once everything's dialed in with your campaigns and you're kind of spending around 10,000 a month, that's when I would look at PMax, because you've got a really healthy data set from search and a campaign that's well functioning. And so that kind of feeds into your Performance Max, right? Still informs Performance Max. So Performance Max would get you incremental conversions, and you would also be able to scale up a little bit and reach higher up into the funnel, since it's full funnel marketing in a single campaign. So we do recommend that once you're kind of scaling up to generate a Performance Max campaign. The other thing with that is, aim for a minimum of 25 conversions a month. Until you have enough budget to do that, I would not run PMax because it won't run efficiently. Outside of that, if you are going to do a mobile app, which I touched on at the beginning, you can run a universal app campaign. I think Google's renamed them recently just to app campaign. And those they're completely automated. You just like feed in your creative ideas and your link in the Play Store, and Google kind of does the rest. So it's really simple to set up, and you'll get very efficient cost per install. We often get like $1 or 80 cents, depending on the niche. And then lastly, just in terms of campaign optimization, because of these different business models, you may find that the conversions are delayed from the original ad click. So it is imperative to, when you're doing optimization, that you look at a large look back window. If you're not going to do that, at least look at conversions by time KPIs, which will show you the more recent conversion data based on when the conversion happened versus the click. But generally speaking, it's a good idea with if you have a delay of typically 7 to 10 days for conversions to use, at least a month look back period when you're making decisions about creatives and keywords and things like that. Just to wrap up, some tools and other tips. We do recommend CallRail if you are going to be, B2B and enterprise, because you may get some inbound calls. If you are B2C, you probably don't want your phone number on the website at all. But, again, if you are going to take calls, CallRail will help you track those as conversions, which provides more data for optimization and to improve the bidding engine. The other thing I'd recommend for any software as a service company is to be on Capterra, because it's just a great way to generate more incremental sales. So that's kind of it for software as a service. This is going to be a rare video that's well over 10 minutes, but there's just quite a bit to get through. Note also that I do have an article about this, which is going to go a little more in depth than I can in the video. So feel free to click through there if you want some more information. So hopefully you found this video useful, and that is it for today. I will see you next time.